It's time for CityBeat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson. Only on 102.9 CHTM, your radio station.
This is CityBeat here on 102.9 CHTM, and I have the official mayor with me this week. Last year he was just the mayor-elect. This is Dennis Fenske. And just as a reminder to listeners, you can get your questions into us by calling 677-3905, or you can email chtimnews@arcticradio.ca, and you don't have to wait until the show starts. You can send your questions in ahead of time, too. So welcome back, Dennis.
Morning, sir.
So you've got 1 week under your belt as the mayor of Thompson. So has that transition been going okay for you down at City Hall?
It's certainly been a busy week, catching up to process and getting things in motion, getting ready for Monday evening's inaugural meeting of council. We actually have a workshop this weekend for all councillors and mayor and administration to deal with the role of council, the role of administration, how the two interact, understanding the Municipal Act and the processes that the City of Thompson have in place to govern the community. And so that's an 8-hour session, and then following Monday evening at 7 o'clock we have the actual meeting. The agenda for that meeting basically is straightforward. There's some opening remarks, and then it's followed with the mayor's appointment of committee chairs. We have 7 committees, so I'll be appointing chairpersons for those committees, and then council will elect the second council rep on each committee, with the exception of Liga Committee. The Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs has 2 extra councillors, so they'll be taking care of that. And then there's some administration stuff we have to do with signing authorities and that. So, but it is, again, as every meeting is, it's open to the public, and this being the first one, we would encourage everyone to come out. There are appetizers and dainties after to mix and mingle with council at that time. And again, it starts at 7 o'clock at City Hall, and we're welcoming everybody out.
Okay. And has it been hard to come up with the different mix of councillors, like I said, for the different committees that you have, or have you looked at all the strengths and have you asked people for input?
There's been ongoing conversations with each councillor, and Saturday we'll review that, and we'll be ready to go for Monday. So I'm thinking we're going to see a balanced approach to committee structure and balancing the workload for everyone involved.
Okay, great. And so, Dennis, the city has posted a survey on their website at thompson.ca, and it's regarding the speed limits in the school zones, in particular the one at Artie Parker. Tell us a bit about why that survey came up, especially as the new lower speed limits have just been in effect really for the last couple of months. Yeah,
that was basically, you're right, the speed limits came into effect and enforcement at the start of the school year. The legislation was enacted earlier this summer, and we've heard from the residents in regards to concerns, and I want to point out that most, I would say 95% of the concerns are on the Thompson Drive area in front of the Artie Parker. We've heard little or no concerns in regards to the enforcement or the speed zones around elementary schools, with the exception of some length of notice, and that we're governed by the Act as far as where we have to put signage before and after the zones. So we've got some physical things there to work with. But for the most part, all of the discussion at the Public Safety Committee meeting and interaction with the public have been about Thompson Drive and in front of the Artie Parker. So that was brought forward at the Public Safety Committee, last committee meeting, and the one before that as well. And one of the things we wanted to do was, again, engage the public formally through a survey, specifically on that area. We've narrowed it down to that area of concern. So we'll be collecting the survey. You can actually go on our webpage, thompson.ca. It's very, click and you're there. It's a very straightforward survey in regards to what's being proposed or considered, and there's also open boxes for your own comments to provide feedback. Once that survey is completed, which will be the end of this month, it goes back to Public Safety, the results. Public Safety meets the second Thursday of the month, so mid-November. They'll review those, and in consultation with the parties, the School District, Mr. Lake, the RCMP, and the City as well, we will, or the Public Safety Committee will make a recommendation to Council, and then Council will consider changes as proposed or leave it as it is, or whatever comes out of Public Safety. So Council would consider that at the next Council meeting after the Public Safety meeting.
Okay. So how long, if there are recommendations for changes to be made, about how long would it be before we would actually see something?
Well, I'm thinking probably by the new year, because the current signage has no limitations. So unlike the city of Winnipeg that has limitations of 7:30 in the morning till 5:30 at night, and not applicable in July and August. So in order to provide those parameters, we'd have to order signage. Whatever we decide on, you'd have to order signage, have to place it, and so then the enforcement could take place. So until that time, it would remain status quo, because that's what the bylaw says.
Okay.
And we would consult with our city administration in regards to enforcement after, if there's any changes to be made.
Okay. And so, Dennis, you can see we don't have any snow just yet, and so we've been pretty lucky, knock on wood, but we know it's coming. So what should people know about the snow clearing procedures and policies, and making sure that they're not getting tickets by parking on the street?
That's a good point. One of the things is that we do have a snow clearing policy in the city of Thompson. There's 3 priorities. Priority 1 is emergency routes and schools and hospitals. Secondary is the primary roads, being Westwood, Riverside, Juniper, the main arteries. And then third is residential areas. So that's the priority, that snow is cleared. Our guys at Public Works are very good at watching the weather and heads up if there's a big snowfall coming, like they usually do just on the weekend.
Yes.
And so we plan for that, to have extra crews on, or sandy crews. You mentioned the no parking, and we really want to emphasize and educate the general public to that, is that we put out temporary signage when we're doing snow clearing. And it basically, there's no parking on that street when we're doing snow clearing. So people fall into the habit, I parked here all week and now I can't. And as a result, you're going to end up getting a ticket, because the snow plows have to move in and around vehicles. It's dangerous work in that sense. And also it's not efficient work, because they have to come back and clean up a second time. So we really encourage residents to be aware of the signage. It's put out 24 hours prior to the snow clearing. And it's designated areas, so be aware of that, and it's an inconvenience for a day, so please be aware of that, and at the end it'll help your street out.
And what kind of fines do people look at?
Actually, I don't know the dollar figure off the top of my head, but it's not cheap.
No, okay. And tomorrow's Halloween, so do you have anything that you'd like to share with all our little ghoulies and ghosties, or at least their parents?
Absolutely, and the first and foremost being be safe. It's Halloween tomorrow evening, and as you mentioned, there's no snow yet, and hopefully that'll be the same condition tomorrow evening. We will have additional people on the streets, our public safety officers, fire protective services, the RCMP as well, just making rounds, making sure that people and kids are on the streets where they're supposed to be, or off the streets where they're supposed to be. Hydro has worked really hard at trying to replace all the streetlights that have been out. I'm not sure if that's 100% complete, but they are working on it. So I guess from the parents' perspective, make sure that the costumes that the kids have on provide clear eyesight, that they're reflective, that kids can be seen in and around the streets and the driveways as they go door to door. And for the kids, just like my mom and dad told me years ago, look both ways, make sure of your surroundings, watch for cars. You're going to lose if you get into entanglement with a vehicle. So to both parents and kids, be safe, have a good time, enjoy yourself. But again, at the end of the day, let's be safe.
Okay. And so you were at the first Northern Health Summit this week as well. I was talking to the CEO, Helga Bryant, yesterday, and she was very happy with the turnout and the response. What kind of comments would you like to make about that event?
I feel the same way. It was interesting. It was obviously the first one of hopefully many. It was a really good cross-section of people from northern Manitoba. It's a really good program and tool to interact with all the communities in the north, to get the on-the-ground feel for what's going on in their communities in regards to health issues. So that was a very good information share. Out of that, hopefully, will come direction through their strategic plan, their 5-year strategic plan, and at the end of the day, we all want to improve healthcare in northern Manitoba. So it all starts with communication. And I thought from the session that I was at in the morning, and what I've heard from the rest of the day, that the communication was very good, the interaction was very good, and I think they got some very good information to move forward.
Yeah, I know she did mention in particular that the youth were really focused on in this, that there was a lot of comments that we have to really focus on our youth, mental health issues.
Absolutely,
Has
and
that effect?
prevention is a big part of that
Yeah.
because you end up dealing with the end cause instead of the root cause. So in healthcare, as it is with a lot of issues, you have to get to the root cause and put in preventative measures, and that's the approach that health is taking, which is a good one. And I think that everyone takes in any issues, whether they're mental health or addictions. We do that with our downtown program. We're trying to do preventative stuff and intervention as opposed to dealing with the end cause and what that brings to us.
Okay. So what else is going on this week besides the your training session on Saturday and the upcoming first meeting?
For the weekend, for hockey enthusiasts, the North Stars are in town against Parkland. They host them at Parkland at Saturday night 7:30 and Sunday at 1:30 at the TRCC. So make sure you come out and support the kids. It's a great entertainment and it's a great way to get out into the community. I see it as a big social event because you have 500 to 600 people interacting, and it's lots of fun. The North Star group and their volunteers put an excellent job on putting on a great show. And it's kids working hard, and that's what you like to see. So really encourage everyone to come out and support the North Stars against Parkland this weekend.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for this edition of City Beat, and thanks again for being here, Dennis. We'll be back next week here on 102.9 CHTM. I'm Sue O'Brien.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning.